The fishing news is brought to you by Shoreline Insurance Agency.
Win the incredible Steigercraft, Evinrude, Lowrance Grand Prize Boat Package, and more in the Fisherman's 2018 Dream Boat Fishing Challenge. Get the details at thefisherman.com. The offshore scene really came to life this past weekend. Shark tournaments saw good numbers of makos, threshers, and blue sharks, while those intent on tuna had their share of action as well. Fluking was erratic in some areas and more consistent in others, and the numbers of shorts to keepers appeared to have increased since the opening month. Porgies remain a sure bet all around the island, while big stripers are still very much in play, and they've spread to the East End. Sea bass season is expected to open on Saturday, so you should finally be able to take a few of those big knotheads home for the dinner table this weekend. More on the sea bass situation later in the broadcast with Fred Golofaro. Weather-wise, tomorrow's looking to be a little sloppy with east winds gusting to 20 knots. The marine forecast on Saturday is calling for 10 to 15 out of the southeast with seas running 4 to 5 feet. Sunday, the wind will go southwest 10 to 15 with seas 3 to 5 feet. With several shark tournaments slated for the weekend and scores of other fishermen looking to get in on that bluefin bite, it could be a very lumpy weekend offshore. Big bass began settling into Montauk's rips late last week with several fish topping the 50-pound mark. Fluking has been very erratic, good one day, bad the next, yet some impressive scores have been made. Star Island's Sam Gershowitz and 4 friends limited out with 20 fluke aboard the Marlena, with most of the fish being 4 to 8 pounds. They also released a bunch of keepers. Porgy action has been solid all around the point and on the North Fork. Both the fluke and striper action improved this week, with plenty of bass to 25 pounds being bucktailed and jigged in plum gut and the race. Fluking is solid with good numbers of quality keepers and loads of porgies, according to Captain Mike on the Prime Time 3. Down in Shinnecock, the shallow water fluke bite is on with some quality summer flatties to 8 pounds falling to bucktails in only 4 to 6 feet of water, according to the Shinnecock Star. The parade of big stripers continued through the weekend with bass to 63 pounds along with a number of 50s recorded outside of Moriches Inlet and east of Fire Island Inlet. Adam Poco and John Papa weighed in the 63-pounder at Dick's Bait and Tackle on Saturday, while George McPhee put a 59.5-pounder on the scale at Silly Lily Fishing Station. Fluking along much of the South Shore has seen far more keepers than shorts in the bays, and the ocean has been producing a better keeper to short ratio. If the sea conditions allow, look for lots of anglers to target some of those nearshore wrecks for sea bass this weekend. Let's check in with the latest from Suffolk Marine Bait and Tackle.
Thanks, Tim. The bass fishing remains strong with the fish moving towards the east. Today we had a report of 12 fish, with the largest one being in excess of 58 pounds. Fluke fishing is hit or miss. We've been weighing some fish in, some nice fish, but it's spotty. You have to work for them. And we anticipate the opening of black sea bass in the next couple of days. We have all the bait we need, all the frozen and fresh bait we have, and the store is stocked with all the latest in tackle.
On the West End, you can count on lots of fishermen targeting fluke on Sunday as they compete for the title of Duke of Fluke. Combs Bait and Tackle's Duke of Fluke tournament is sure to draw over 400 anglers on Sunday with cash and prizes to 24 fish. You can sign up at the shop until 7 p.m. on Friday. The entry fee is $35. Bill Witchie of Combs said there was good action in the bay last Saturday, including the state channel between Gilgo and the Amity Cut, and from Wansner's Cut to Goose Creek from Buoy 60 West. Fishing was also good on either side of the Wantar bridges. Mark at Bay Park Fishing Station in Oceanside reported Reynolds Channel surrendered some quality fluke on the weekend. Johnny Ferreira drilled a 9 1/4 pounder. The crew of the Sophie weighed in nearly an 8-pound summer flounder. And Hans Koflesh decked a 7+ pounder. And there were also bass to 44 pounds trolled east of Debs on white bunker spoons. Jerry from Bernie's Bait and Tackle in Sheepshead Bay reported a new body of fluke moved into the area. He and his pal Ryan Blanco worked the change of the tide and in nearly 90 minutes connected with 30 fish, keeping 4 good-sized keepers. Now let's check in with Captain Joey Leggio.
Thank you, Tim. Report over here from the west is pretty simple. Bass and blues in the bay, got lots of them. You see the guys from Missouri behind me right now, having a ball, catching the cocktail blues in the bay right now, and the Ozori Mag daughters. Fluke fishing picked up, it's pretty good. We had a nice 5-pounder the other day, yesterday actually, on the AB Reef. A couple other fish were taken. We had two 19-inch ones today in the bay, just messing around with the bluefish, dropping a bucktail down. Sharks still seeing the sharks coming out a lot, coming to the docks, excuse me. Some more threshers. You know, obviously the Hudson Angler had a lot of threshers come in. Congratulations to Kenny Owens. He took first place with his thresher. And that's basically it. But a nice show on a fluke. The reef's loaded with sea bass. We tried the other day looking for porgies, but just inundated with sea bass, blackfish, and that was basically it. But that's my report for the west out of Debs, and I'll talk to you soon, Tim. Thank you very much.
Up on the North Shore, it's porgies galore from one end of the sound to the other, and many shore spots are producing very good catches as well. At night, Captain Pat on the charter boat Shamrock from New Rochelle called the bass and bluefish action very good at night with blues and some bass to 25 pounds. Saturday night saw fares bailed bluefish to 10 pounds. Quite a few quality bass from 20 to 40 pounds on bunker chunks and live bunker from Matinacock Point to Eaton's Neck. The Mid-Island area has the edge on fluke with more keepers falling to bucktails tipped with gulp or spearing. The James Joseph had an 11.5 pound fluke over the weekend as well. Now let's check in with Hawaiian Dan from his kayak.
Thanks, Tim. Aloha from Hawaiian Dan of TalkFishTV.com. Reporting to you today out on the water just off the shore of Cedar Beach working the ledge where the fishing was hot until the draggers, aka trawlers, came through. If you ever ask yourself why we're catching so many shorts, that's why. They're out here every stinking day. Now before they got out here, there's bait fish everywhere, fluke to be caught, schoolie stripers, cocktail blues, aka snappers, porgies, and of course your occasional sea robins. So get off that couch, get out there and fish, send in your reports because the fishing season is here. Until next week, this is Hawaiian Dan from TalkFishTV.com signing out. Aloha.
From the surf, kind of a quiet week in the surf. Hearing a very few big bass from the suds, but there are plenty of those small schoolies around to keep the rods bent. Moriches and Shinnecock inlets have seen some bass to 20 pounds on the night tides, but Moriches is hampered by a 10 p.m. outer beach closure due to our favorite bird, the piping plover. A few nice bass have been chunked from the shore between Manhasset Bay and Asheroken. Those big blues that were around in May on the South Shore have thinned out a bit and have been replaced by cocktails and 5 to 6 pounders. Peconic still has some big blues roaming around the bay, marauding those bunker schools, and Montauk is seeing a pick of bass from shorts to 20 pounds, mostly on the south side, but a few are coming from the north side at night on needlefish plugs. A good showing of bluefins over the past week between the Bacardi, Chicken Canyon, and the Triple Wreck. Scott from Bergen Bay Docks in West Babylon said most of the fish were around 100 pounds, but he did weigh in a 160-pounder. Most are falling to slow-trolled ballyhoo. Also at Bergen Bay Docks, the crew of the Fishbones weighed in a 160-pound thresher they caught in 120 feet of water. The Whitewater Marine crew on John Bauman's Whitewater returned to Shinnecock from the Bacardi with a 326-pound bluefin. Also out of Shinnecock, Adam and Jacob on the Tiger Lily whipped a 467-pound bluefin. On the shark front, a 417-pound mako caught on the Alexa Ann won the Star Island event. Back west, the Freeport Hudson Angler Shark Tournament saw a 329-pound thresher take first place. Now, more on sea bass with senior editor Fred Golofaro.
Hey, Tim. Yeah, and as of Wednesday, Albany's yet to sign off on emergency regulations for sea bass that our marine resources staff here on Long Island sent up to Albany over 3 weeks ago. They also requested that the process be accelerated to avoid what happened with Fluke back in May. If you remember, they didn't sign off on the emergency fluke regulations until the day before the season opened on May 4th. It appears the same thing is about to happen with sea bass, since here it is just a few days before the intended opening of June 23rd, and they still have not signed off on it. Albany doesn't seem to understand that many anglers need to make their fishing plans in advance. Tackle shops need to inventory bait and equipment. Boats, party boats, charter boats need to advertise the fact that they're sailing for sea bass in advance of the opening. In fact, some captains have already advertised that they will be sailing for sea bass this weekend so as not to miss the first weekend of the season. I've been told it is okay to get the word out, but with the caveat that readers check the marine regulations on the DEC website for confirmation. Once the regulations are signed off on, the new regs will be posted within hours. Those new regs call for a 3-fish bag from June 23rd to August 31st and a 7-fish bag from September 1st to December 31st. A 15-inch minimum size limit is in effect throughout the season.
Remember, like our video, subscribe to our YouTube page, and be a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine to be part of the Dream Boat Contest. Until next week, this is Tim C. Smith for thefisherman.com. Win the incredible Steiger Craft, Evinrude, Lorenz Grand Prize Boat Package, and more in the Fisherman's 2018 Dream Boat Fishing Challenge. Get the details at thefisherman.com.